Hey guys, how's it going? Kulprit here, and today I kind of wanted to get back to my roots a little bit and do just an old-fashioned, commentary over some gameplay and talk to you about some thoughts I've had lately. Basically, I was watching this video, and let me introduce it to you. It's 400 ticket TDM on Karg Island. Now, this is pre-armored kill, so some of the patches and stuff don't apply in case you see something wonky or something. It's not that old though. It's probably the week before armored kill or something like that. I was just playing some TDM to keep some rust off and work on some things. I'm always working on things, as you guys know. In this gameplay, what was kind of interesting is, I'm sitting there and I always have people join on me. It's inevitable, and a lot of them are friends of mine. And in this match in particular, I was joined on by a friend of mine called Laserlord. He hangs out in the Skype chat. He hangs out with the platoon a lot, and he's a great player, good guy. And we really started butting heads, and it kind of highlighted something that I've been noticing a lot lately as I play, and that's as you get into these 32-man servers. Let's say, there's so many players on the server, but it really comes down to almost like 5 or 6 guys that are really kind of playing. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know. I hesitate because I don't want to sound arrogant, but it's really like here I don't even know what my final stats were. Let me pull it up real quick. I went 61 and 27-ish, something like that, which, it could have been so much better if he wasn't in the match, frankly. Of the 27 deaths, I'd say over half of them legitimately were by him. And as frustrating as it was, it kind of was fun. It was a little bit of a chess match. We were playing a little bit cat and mouse. It got to feel like, it was like 2 sharks kind of swimming around trying to attack each other, and whoever just kind of ran into us just got the worst end of the deal. And like I said, it got me thinking a little bit, and I've been running into this quite a bit, and it's not always people I know, frankly. It's just some random guys that, as you play in a lobby for 2 or 3 matches, you notice that they're the ones killing you, and you're getting the nemesis ribbons on a lot of other guys, and you start to figure out who are the good players, and who are the ones that know what the heck they're doing, and who are the ones to figure out and try to counter what they like to do. This is how I think when I play this game, to be quite honest. And this might be kind of meta game stuff, but I do like to think like this. This is what I enjoy. This is the tactical side, the strategic side. Sure, it's a random, it's a pub match, but there's always elements of this any match you play. So it got me to thinking, and that's going to be the topic for today, is what really kind of separates the good player, which is a normal pub player. I'm not even talking about bad players. I'm just talking about a normal good player, and what elevates him into a really good player. Like, I hesitate. I'm not calling myself that, so please don't get on me. I have my good matches. I have my bad ones. I think I'm above average player, certainly. And if I had the time to really apply myself, I think I could really get there. And I'm always trying. So hopefully one day I'll get there. But Laserlord, I would definitely say, is a really good player. He's got a sick gun, and I've known that. I've heard about his game and stuff like that. He's got a really quick gun, really great shot. But what I was most impressed about in this match, and I actually kind of took him aside in chat afterwards. I was like, man, I knew you had a good gun. I knew you had a quick shot. I knew I was going to deal with that. I run into that all the time. I'm a quote-unquote older gamer. I've been away from gaming for a long time. I'm just still learning PC. It's not natural to me. So the area that I'm mainly lacking is in my shot. I don't have those twitch skills. I don't have those snap to the headshot. I certainly don't. So the way I deal with that is I outthink people. I outflank them. I out-tactic them. I try to always be in the right place or an advantageous place. And I wasn't getting that on him today in this match. And I went to him and I was like, I knew about your gun skills. I knew about your quick shot, your snapping, and your twitch skills, basically. But I didn't realize that you really knew what the heck you were doing. And that's kind of what I think really separates the men from the boys in this game. We're all at that point now where we've played all these maps. We've played them hundreds and hundreds of times, especially TDM maps, And it's really about, we all, and this is a feature I wish Battlefield 3 had. To any of you guys that played Black Ops, if you looked in the game, they had heat maps. And in the maps, they would literally be an overhead map, and it would track everywhere you won a gunfight, everywhere you died. And so you could then, bring in the last month's matches, I think, or maybe it was the last 20 matches, whatever it was, and it would formulate a heat map of where you died. So now you can look at this map and be like, man, I'm always dying over there by those crates, or I'm always, my KD is like 5.0 over in this corner, that kind of thing. And it was really, really helpful to learn maps. And I did use that feature, and I really wish I wish Battlelog had that feature. It's kind of bizarre that it doesn't, actually, because to me it seems like such an obvious obvious and powerful usage of that platform. Hopefully maybe Battlefield 4, we'll see. Maybe Medal of Honor, because I know they're getting Battlelog as well, but we'll see. But anyway, my point is, the thing that really separates the good players from the great players is anticipation. And it's basically, you know, it's knowing before you round a corner, in your head, like you almost do this computation that, all right, there's a 75% chance I'm going to see somebody around this corner. Be ready. Now, I don't necessarily mean, you know, you creep around the corner aiming down sights. I mean, that's ridiculous. Nobody's going to do that. But at the very least, you should be ready to hip fire. You should have your reticle right at about head or, you know, center mass level. Be ready to go if you do, in fact, run into somebody. And that's part of why you always hear everybody, including myself, always, like, you know, over and over and over telling you, don't run around corners, don't run around corners. Because where are you generally going to see people? You're not going to get surprised by somebody on a long sight line. You're going to get surprised by somebody when you're running around a corner. And we all know about the penalties you get when you are transitioning from a run to aim down sights or a run to firing. So the idea is to not run around corners, so you're literally ready to go the second you get around that corner. And this has been something that's really hard for me, and as my game falls apart, or, you know, as I'm having bad rounds and it tends to snowball, I find that this is something I don't do. I run around and I react. You know, I run around that corner and I try to pull off that fancy or that crazy hip fire, save my life shot, you know, and usually the other guy's doing the same thing, so I get away with it some of the times. But I find those times where I'm really elevating my game, which this is one of those matches. I was having a really good match. I cut a lot of stuff out of here. I tried to just show you the real good meat stuff that kind of goes along with the point I'm trying to make. But, you know, I remember I was like 3/4 of the way through this match probably, and I've known me and Laser Lord were butting heads all match, and I was, you know, he got some really advantageous spawns, I'm going to say, on me, and I was getting a little frustrated. And I was like, and I'm looking at my score, and I'm like, man, I'm having a pretty good score considering how he's kicking my ass, frankly. And then I look over, and I'm like, I must have been at that point like 50 and 15, 50 and 20, maybe, something along those lines. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good for me. You know, I'm pushing almost a 3 KD. And I look over on his side. He's like, he had just hit like 100 kills. And I was just like, I mean, I know it's a 400 ticket counter or a 400 ticket match, but nobody on one team should have 100 kills. That's ridiculous. But I mean, I guess that's why we won handily. But like I said, it's, you know, when I'm having a good match like this, where everything feels right and everything's going well, and I'm winning a lot of these gunfights, I find probably the one singular theme that runs through them all. I mean, I'm doing a lot of other things well, obviously. My aim's doing well and hip firing, stuff like that, of course. But the biggest thing to me, like the underlying backbone of the reason, is I'm anticipating the action before it does. And I think this is a lot of times where people have a hard time discerning that really, really good player and a hacker or a cheater, basically, is, you know, they don't understand. You know, they run around a corner, it looks like a 50-50 to you, and that guy just smokes you. And a lot of the times, you know, assuming the guy's not cheating, the reason is because that guy knows that this is a very hot spot. He comes around that corner ready. He might just be hip firing, but he's ready to go. The second he sees, not even a person, it's almost the second he sees movement, he's firing. And, you know, you go down quick, you're like, what the heck? And, you know, obviously there's all kinds of game issues there, but, you know, you get my point. And I think, like I said, we've played these maps hundreds and hundreds of times. We all have the general map knowledge, knowing what's a hot spot, what's not, places that we more often than not run into people. And I mean, this is a perfect example in this map with the containers and these rooms and the staircases. You know, we for the most part, we know where we can run open. We know where we should be super careful. And a lot of Battlefield maps are like that, frankly. You know, they all have those sections in them. And we really all do a lot better to slow it down and to anticipate. And when it's more than just, you know, having the thought of, oh, I might see someone around this corner. But what you really need to do is be, like I said, be prepared to act on it. You almost have to go around a corner saying, I'm going to see somebody here. And then if you don't, stand down, as opposed to going around that corner in a casual way and trying to get ready when you see someone. It's not going to happen. And that's really what's going to divide you from being a good player, a good pubber, to being above average and approach the really good ranks of some guy that's stomping his lobbies whenever he's playing them. It takes discipline, obviously, and that's probably one of the biggest elements in FPS games and in getting really good. You have to do a lot of these things. We all know, for the most part. I mean, you guys are sitting here now, you're listening to a Battlefield 3 video or a Battlefield 3 commentary. So you obviously think about your game and you're trying to get better, especially, you know, if you're listening to a video like this where there's very little entertainment value. It's really just kind of me talking about, you know, premises of the game and concepts. So you obviously are working to better your game. So we all know the general elements of how to be a better player. It's a matter of executing it time and time and time again, and having the discipline not to get lazy. You know, don't just dump that whole clip into a guy. Be disciplined with it, burst fire, you know, when you need to, that kind of thing. Don't run around corners, you know, these types of things. We all know them. We all try to clean our game up, make it better to be the better player we can be. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit and bring you, like I said, an old-fashioned Battlefield 3 commentary. I haven't done one of these in a little while, and I've kind of run out of the obvious topics to talk about, but this one I've been thinking about a lot lately, just because I feel like sometimes when I play, I'm right there. I'm almost there. So I'm trying to think of these kind of end game tactics, I guess, or principles, so to see if I can really elevate my game, take that last hurdle, where, you know, to where I want to be. So hopefully I can. You know, obviously you guys will be along for the ride, but let me know what you think. I mean, is this, am I on target with this, or am I off? Do you agree or disagree, obviously? And what do you think? What separates the really good players or the good players from the really good players? And I mean, I know that's a little hard. It's not a very good, very accurate, very detailed, you know, example, but I think you guys know what I mean. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you have to think. Like always, guys, thanks a lot for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.